This wooden layered arch is from Michael's. It measures 7.5 inches by 12 inches. This shabby pink roses scrapbook paper is from Amazon. I'm going to be Mod Podging that to the inside of the arch. Now for the paint, I'm using Dixie Belle Spanish Moss for the edges as well as the back. And then for the green part of it, I'm using Americana Hauser medium green for that. And then on the pink, I'm using Cactus Flower. Now I'm going to go ahead and Mod Podge the scrapbook paper onto the on the inside, which I really didn't need to paint the whole thing pink, but I just like to have my projects finished. I figured out which print I wanted to use for my roses, and then I just kind of rubbed my finger over it just to get the indentation of where I needed to cut it. Then I trimmed out some of the additional roses on it because I'm going to piece all of that together. Now to add a little bit of interest to my arch frame, I'm just taking some of this Master's Touch acrylic paint in white as well as a palette knife, and I'm just giving it a little bit of the Artist Master's Touch acrylic paint, just giving it a little bit of a chippy look all the way around this arched frame. Once my frame was completely dry, I took my Kilz dark wax and just gave it a little bit of distressing all the way around the frame. Then for the scrapbook paper, I'm just using some distress ink in crushed olive and just going around the edges just to kind of bring out some of the green in the actual scrapbook paper of the leaves and that. And then I'm going to be adhering the scrapbook paper with the Mod Podge heat transfer method, and I'm just putting some Mod Podge on there. I dried that up, and then I'm just using my little Cricut mini heat press as an iron just to adhere the scrapbook paper to the inside of my layered arch. For a little extra sparkle and pizzazz, I used my Stickles glitter glue in Icicle and just went around the roses just to give it a little bit of sparkle and highlight them a bit. Then for the wording, First My Mother, Forever My Friend, I got the image from Cricut Design Space and cut that out in my on my Cricut Explorer 3. Now, if this is not something that you have, you can always use stickers, or you can do some kind of like free hand lettering or something like that, but I did get the image off of Cricut Design Space. Then once I got it all adhered to my arch or on my paper, then I just went over it with a layer of Mod Podge just to give it some extra protection. So for the berries in my swag, now I have picked up this from after Valentine's Day at Hobby Lobby, and I love the colors of it. And so I wanted to just share this tip. I've loved to do this, especially when I can get these very reasonably priced. I take them off of the garland or whatever they are, and then I use them as little picks. Now these have white and pink metal hearts in it, which those are just tied on with just some wire, and so I just absolutely love to add pip berries to my projects, and so I just wanted to share this tip for future reference. All right, so then for the greenery, I'm just using some of this berry greenery that I got from Hobby Lobby long before that they discontinued that berry bush. The pink flowers I've decided to use are these right here. I got them on clearance for 74 cents each from Hobby Lobby. So my point is, check those sale racks or those little clearance areas in your particular store because they have them all around the store. All right, so then to add my greenery, I'm just stapling on pieces of the greenery to there. And then then I'm just going to add some of those pip berries, the pink and the white ones to it. Then also I'm going to be adding some sisal grass. And now I got this from Amazon. I do have a link for it in my description box below. And also I have a lot of these things listed in my Amazon storefront. Then for the bow, I'm just using different ribbons and trims that I have had on hand. They come from all different places: Dollar Tree, Hobby Lobby, Walmart. I like to use a combination of different sizes of a ribbon. And so I just layer them in my Bowdabra. And friends, I get questioned about making bows all of the time, and my tips are layering and adding different textures, different widths of ribbon really makes a very nice bow. And then just add some jute. Just tie that off with the jute. Then for the center, I am just using some white bind wire. Now I got this also from Amazon. I'm just making some curlicues with that and then add that to the center of my bow. Then for the actual center of it, I am using part of a mold, an IOD mold. This is a swag mold and it has little roses on it. So I am taking just some hot glue and I'm just taking the portion of the mold that I want. I'm just putting some hot glue in there, let that set up, and then I am going to paint the mold just with cactus flower acrylic paint, let that dry, and then I take some white wax. Now this is by Dixie Belle Best Dang Wax. So I give it a little bit of that, wipe off of that white wax that I want, just to give it just a little hint of it. And then I'm going to take my Glossy Accents and just kind of paint over that, and then take some fine glitter. Now this is just Martha Stewart glitter. Sprinkle that over that just to give it a little bit of glistening touch to it. And then I just add that to the center of my bow, and it just completes my project. I found this pink sifter at a yard sale. I think I paid $2 for it. It was kind of faded on the handle. So I pulled out this vintage Victorian pink paint. I thought it matched perfectly. So I just painted the whole thing with that. And it had little white speckles on it initially, but I just left it as is with the pink. Now, these are the supplies I'm going to be using to just create a floral arrangement in this sifter. I had pieces of like block styrofoam from the Dollar Tree, just cut those down to size, put that in there, and then I just started sticking in my florals. Now I get these beautiful peonies from Amazon. That is my favorite place to get them right now as of the time of this video. I also had some wispy greenery that I got on sale from Hobby Lobby, and these beautiful blue with kind of berries in them. Flowers came from Walmart. Absolutely loving those right there. Those are like 97 cents a stem. So perfect for little additions, little accents for my arrangements. Now, these hop bushes are kind of in the cream color. I'm sure these came from the Dollar Tree because of the tag. And then also, those are probably available in the fall just because of the cream color. And just this is how I do my arrangements, guys, is I just kind of stick and just put where I think it looks great. All right, so then I'm going to start filling in with some Excelsior, just pushing it in there, and then I use my U pens just to stick that in there so that everything holds down, and everything is just looking so nice in this beautiful pink and blue arrangement that's perfect for spring, Mother's Day, or just because, just for a friend. I added in some of these pipberry stems. These I got at Hobby Lobby during the Valentine season and decided they would be perfect for other holidays. These little mini pink flowers with the greenery came from Hobby Lobby. They have those all of the time in their floral section. Now I'm going to make a bow for the side, and I have this 1.5 floral inch ribbon. I thought it was perfect for this little arrangement. I'm just making just some 3 separate loops for the bow, and so I'm going to show you how I do that. I just make the loops. They're probably about 3 inches long, and then I just cut off the tail. I staple it in the middle with my little tiny attacher. This is my favorite bow making tool accessory, just because it kind of helps me put everything together, and then I just staple it in holes while I'm making my bow. Now I have the larger one, and then I'm just going to start stacking it on top, just gathering it with my fingers. Then I'm going to take a zip tie and then zip tie that really tight. Before I pull it all the way tight, I slip in a white pipe cleaner, so that my first thought I was going to tie this or wrap it around the handle of the sifter, but I changed my mind when I lifted it up, to the arrangement, and I decided to actually stick it in the styrofoam with the U-pin. And so the pipe cleaner just added just some extra, kind of substance for me to gather to, so that I could stick the bow there on the side. And I think that looks so pretty. So for the tag, I just had some brown cardstock, and I just stamped a few just different flowers. I also have this Trust in the Lord with Your Whole Heart stamp that I got from Hobby Lobby, and I just made it kind of a little tag to stick in my little sifter arrangement here. Now to add the tag, I just have some blue craft wire that I've had in my stash, and I just made kind of like a bow with it, and just kind of curled it around and then stuck it in the sifter in that styrofoam, and it just is the absolute perfect touch for this Mother's Day gift or someone special. Now, if you don't have a sifter like this, you can definitely use recycle a tin can, just paint it pink and do the same thing. I hope that you've enjoyed this Mother's Day craft. The base of my project is using this 12 by 12 inch wood plank from the Dollar Tree. I just took off the jute hanger because I'm going to be adding my own later on. For the paint color, I am using Dixie Belle Vintage Duck Egg. I love this blue color. And so what I do, guys, is I paint the front side 2 coats of the vintage duck egg, and then I paint the side and the back with 1 coat. And I have found, especially with these thin wood boards from especially the Dollar Tree, by painting the back, I do not get as much warping. The 2 stencils that I'm using here in this project are from Essential Stencil, and the background is Flora de Lace pattern, and the wording, which is the stencil, "To the world, you are a mother, to us, you are the world." That one is titled "That Mom, You Are the World," and that is an 8 by 10 stencil. I am an ambassador with Essential Stencil, and so I was very thrilled to do a project like this for them using these beautiful stencils, because they are I'm totally happy with the way that this project turned out. So I'm just kind of positioning my stencils how I want them to go. And I decided I wanted a little dimension for the center of my wording. So I wanted an 8 by 10 flat canvas, but I didn't have any on hand. So I had this cardboard that I save when I get packages, boxes in the mail, and it's really nice. So I just cut it down to the size that I want using that backer sheet that comes inside the plastic with the stencil as a guide, and just use my little X-Acto knife. And I do protect my table. I do have this old mat that I use to cut things on, and it's kind of thick, and I don't know, I've had it for several years, but just just providing a little bit of beware, because you don't want to cut your table. All right, so then once I have that the size that I want, guys, then what I do is I give it a coat of that vintage duck egg Dixie Belle paint, the same color that I painted the background of the board from Dollar Tree. And the stencil is not quite wide enough, so I'm going to have to kind of work around the edges, but that is not a problem with these essential stencil border stencils like this, or background stencils. They have a continuous pattern, so I just lined it up and just continued to stencil it. So I'm using the large stencil brush from Essential Stencil, and if you are new to stenciling, the key to stenciling to get it where it doesn't bleed underneath the stencil is to offload the paint on your brush. And so you don't want a whole lot of paint, so that's why I'm dipping my brush in the paint, and then I'm just offloading there on the paper towel, and then I'm just going in a circular motion around my board here, and just kind of figuring out how much I need, because I'm going to be covering up that middle part, so I really don't need to do that. And oh my goodness, isn't this gorgeous? Oh my god, just absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, so then this is what I was talking about, where like it wasn't quite wide enough, so I'm just aligning it up, and I should have stood up like over it, but since I have an overhead camera, I didn't want my head to get in the shot, because I did get off just a little bit, but that is okay, because I just took the little liner brushes that Essential Stencil also has, and I just connected them where I just had the little space in between there, and it just worked out perfect. So then once I figured out my error of not getting it all the way close, then I did correct and went ahead and did that off camera so that I could stand up and stand over it so that I could get my stencil all lined up correctly. And so I wanted to share with you, even an experienced painter as myself, I'm always, figuring out ways to correct my mistakes. And these little liner brushes just help with that. I just went ahead and corrected anything that I got too much paint on. So the next stencil is the To the World. You are a mother. To us, you are the world. I'm doing this for Mother's Day gift. And so just taping it, just using some painter's tape so that I will keep my stencil down. And I'm not going to be using those flowers, so I didn't want to mistakenly get some stencil in that. So I just covered it up with my painter's tape. Now I'm just doing the same method, just by loading my brush, offloading it to get just a little bit of the paint, and then I go in a circular motion just to stencil on my word. And then I'm just taking my little liner brush and connecting those little bridges. That's what those are called, the little spaces that are in between the stencil letters, and just taking my little liner brush just to connect those in any words or any little letters that I got a little light on. So the beautiful flowers are from this set, Peonies in Bloom, which is a transfer set from Essential Stencil as well. And so I was just figuring out which ones I wanted. So I decided on these white peonies with the beautiful wispy greenery. And just a tip, if you didn't see my video, this is how I store my rub-on transfers. I just cut them down in those plastic folders I get from Hobby Lobby. You can get them individually or in a pack of 10 for like $7.99 as of the time of this video. And so those work really good, and I can quickly see what transfers I have, and they all stay together just like that. So what I'm doing is I am going to adhere this to my cardboard, and so I'm just burnishing it with the little tools. Well, I quickly figure out that it's not coming off. off. And so I wanted to share this little tip with you. What I did is I put a layer of Mod Podge on it just to kind of seal it and give something for, I guess, my transfer to stick to. And so before I did the Mod Podge, I wanted to go ahead and give it a little bit of depth and definition. So I just pulled out my dark wax, the Kilz dark wax, gave it some of that around the edges, just the look that I like. Then I go ahead and use my Mod Podge and give it a coat of the Mod Podge. And then that is, once all of that dries, then my transfer did adhere much easier to come off of the plastic. Now I did really have to burnish it on there, like really give it kind of some, take my time and really kind of get it to come off of this. And so I'm not really as experienced with using the transfers on cardboard like I'm doing here, or maybe it was the chalk paint anyway. So I just wanted to give that little tip. If your transfer is not coming off of your background, the backer paper, put Mod Podge on your surface and see if that helps. And then the little greenery from the Peonies rub-on transfer kind of got over some of my letters. So I just took my detailing brush and just went over those so that I could see the letter better. Then taking another little detailing brush, I'm just going around and giving a little bit of squiggle because I do love that. Later, I'll add a little bit of a black Sharpie marker because I just can't do a project without black Sharpie marker. I just love the outline of it. Then I take my little gator sander and I go over the entire thing and just kind of sand it. That just kind of like roughens it up a bit and just kind of adds just a little bit of, it just kind of blends everything together. And so then I'm just measuring out, just trying to get my little center of it perfect, but I just eyeball it and it may be off a little bit, but I'm okay because this is going to be a great gift. I'm using my friction pen just to kind of put some marks on it. And this is erasable pen, guys. Erasable if you just add some heat to it. Those little marks come off. So I absolutely love using these little friction pens. And I just got mine off of Amazon. I just attach my center board to the back board with Aleene's tacky glue, let that dry. Then for additional pizzazz, I pulled out my stickles in the color crystal and I'm just highlighting the flower as well as some of the greenery. Let that dry completely. Then to give it a little bit more rustic around the edges, I'm just using my Kilz dark wax and just going around using a baby wipe just to wet my finger so that it glides across a bit more. Then here's when I'm just using the black Sharpie marker because I just do love my little black Sharpie marker. Then I am going to add some diamond dust to the center wording, and I did not want it to get on my lace background, so I just covered that up with some paper towels and then just use my adhesive spray and the diamond dust just to sprinkle that on there. Then now, guys, I am just going to be making a big, beautiful bow. It was a little bit bigger than what I wanted, but guys, I wanted to share just a little tip because once I got my bow all the way done, it was and it was covering up my words. So I wanted to share what I did just to lift it up a little bit. I took a couple of, well, I only took one. I pulled out two once you see it here in the video. I thought I was going to need two, but I actually used one large, the giant craft sticks that I get from Walmart, and I painted it the same color of that vintage duck egg, and then I just glued that to the back to kind of stick up above where the bow would go. And then when I finished my bow, I just tied my bow and adhered that bow to it was kind of like a little extender. When I do my wreaths, I know that there is some sign extender, like door hangers, they have like sign extenders, and that's kind of where I got the idea from. So I just have a list. That's the little tip for you. If your bow is not, if it's a little too cramped up at the top or wherever you want, just maybe use a craft stick or, any kind of like wooden stick and kind of extend it off of your project just to have your bow to adhere to. So as I just fluffing my bow and just trimming off any of the long tails that I think cover up my words a little bit. And then I wish I would have stayed with this muted greenery that I got from the Dollar Tree, but I went ahead and switched it out for this natural tan colored baby's breath that I got from Hobby Lobby. Anyway, it is what it is. So then now I'm just going to figure out what kind of little flowers I want for the center of my bow. I do have these burlap flowers that I got from Hobby Lobby and I got them on sale. But then I decided to use the wooden roses, the wooden curls from the Dollar Tree, and I just put 3 of those in the center, and I just love the accent that it gives for this project. So I just glued those there. Then for the hanger, I just added, I have this 4-ply jute that I get from Hobby Lobby and just made a hanger for my project. And then I thought that it needed just a little extra, just to give it a little bit more high end. I just pulled out 4 20mm split wood balls, painted those in drop cloth, Dixie Belle paint, and then grunged them up with my dark wax. And then I just attached those or adhered those to each of the corners with my stick fast glue. And it just really kind of, I feel, completes the project. And I say this with every project, but I absolutely love the way that this turned out. And I love the way that it lifts up this bow. And I'm going to probably be using this in future projects because, sometimes our bows are a little bit bigger or we think we want them a little bit more extended off of our project. So adding a little craft stick might help with that. And friends, if I've inspired you to try out stenciling, I do have my affiliate code in the description box, as well as a discount code for anything on the Essential Stencil website. Anytime, even if these are not in stock, they are forever replenishing and coming out with new and beautiful designs. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Have a great day. God bless.